Hey guys, I wanted to give you a really brief explanation of how this project, the picture book project, is actually going to work. Also, maybe make a couple of changes. So, really, I just wanted to go through this with you, okay? The due date is week 6, the last week of this class. Notice there's no specific date. I don't really have a specific date in mind. I guess you could think of it as just being the last time we have class, really. I want to give you the benefit of as much time as I can to finish it. So there's no specific date, but it'll just be the end of the 6 weeks. But that'll be when it's due. What you will do, let me read this out loud and then we'll talk about it. Using the knowledge you will gain from this course about the elements of literacy and literature, you will create an illustrated children's picture book. Your book will then be presented to the class, where you will then have the opportunity to explain your work and defend your creative choices. Finally, you will read your book to an emergent reader, recording your findings in a 7 to 10 page research paper. The point of this project is not only is it taking into account things that we're discussing over these 6 weeks about analyzing literature and applying it to your own work, but also it's going to be the basis for the research paper. The last essay you write for this class is going to be based on this book. So really, your last paper is going to be a literature analysis, but the literature is going to be your own. You're not going to analyze someone else's book, you're going to analyze your own. So, you might notice the wording here. It really sounds like it's meant for a physical classroom class, and the truth is, it is. That's what I developed this for, was when I was teaching in a classroom, an actual classroom. So some of this doesn't really make sense anymore. As far as reading it to us, we're going to have a workaround. We're going to do it in a different way, and we'll talk about that later. But the big change here, it's not going to be a picture book anymore. And the problem I'm finding already is that it's just not enough time. We're already halfway through this winter session. That doesn't give you a whole lot of time to draw pictures for a book. So right now, I want you to understand I'm getting rid of that requirement, okay? So when it says you're going to illustrate a book, that's no longer true, okay? It's not. This is not a picture book that you're going to create. In fact, I'm changing it to just a story. It's just the written part, so it doesn't even have to look like a book. You're basically just going to write out a children's story, and then from that, you're going to draw information in order to make an argument about this story that you've written, and that's what the essay will be. So when on number 1 it says create a picture book based on the theme you've chosen, you're not going to create a picture book, all right? It's a story. So you could just change that to create a story based on the theme you've chosen. And the theme is totally up to you. 2, find an emergent reader and read your book to this person. This part I'm keeping the same. So this story that you're going to come up with, you're going to read it to a little kid basically. And when I say emergent reader, I mean someone who's learning how to read, okay? It could be preschool, that's a bit young, but probably kindergarten up until 2nd grade, let's say. Any older than that, and they might be bored with it because this is meant for a very young audience. Number 3, present your book to the class. I might just strike this step altogether and get rid of it. It might be enough to just submit the writing to me after you've read it to a little kid. But we'll talk more about that in the next couple of weeks, all right? And then 4 is the research paper. And there's no need getting over that now. We've got a couple more papers to write before we get to that point. So just know that the last essay, the essay that's coming up, the big guy, is going to be based on the book that you wrote, all right? So that's mainly what I wanted to get across to you guys is it's no longer a picture book. It's a story, okay? You're going to just write a text. You don't have to put pictures to it. And that text is meant for a little kid, someone who's in the age range of kindergarten to 2nd grade, who's still learning the basic elements of reading, all right? And that's it. That's what I wanted to say. So don't sweat this too much, okay? It's not going to be as big of a project as I initially had thought because the requirements of being in an intersection class and doing it online, it's just making some of these steps impossible. And that's basically it. That's all I wanted to tell you guys. I will give you a first step soon on how to get started on this project. I will talk to you soon.